Aloha Pumehana Kako. The February 25th Neighborhood Board number 34 meeting is called to order. Welcome to our Makakilo Kapolei Honokai Hale Community Forum. My name is Anthony Makana Paris, and I serve as your board chair. We are holding a hybrid meeting taking place both at Kapolei Hale Conference Rooms A and B and online via WebEx. For order and decorum, if you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand or in-person hand if you happen to be here with us. And wait for the presiding officer to recognize you before speaking. We ask you kindly to introduce yourself and address all comments to the chair. If I missed any hands or in person or online, please get the attention of any of the fellow board members or the neighborhood who is watching the WebEx forum. Speakers have 3 minutes to comment on any item. Those giving reports this evening may take 10 minutes, and presentation materials for the board packet has been circulated and available in the Google Drive. Please remember to silence all electronic devices and keep yourself muted while on WebEx if you're not speaking. This is our community forum, and we ask everyone to engage with the spirit of aloha. And remember that you are free to vigorously debate all of the matters that are of concern to our community. Remember to treat each other with respect, especially when you're passionately advocating for your point. And let's honor each other by keeping to the allotted times and getting out collectively on time. So I don't get another reminder from the NCO and from Olelo that we went mark yet again. So let's try and get it done tonight in 2 hours and 58 minutes or less. Okay, are there any questions? Seeing none, let's get rolling. Can we have the roll call, please?
Okay, when I say your name, please use your microphone. For those that are online board members, if you're online, please unmute your microphone when I call your name. Board Member Bossler.
Here.
Member Dudley. Member England. Not seeing it online. Board Member Ferreira. Member Kahele. Member Lidstone. Not seeing it in person. Member Medeiros. Ta'ala online.
Ew.
And Chair Paris.
Ew.
Chair, you have 7 board members present.
We have quorum and we're rolling. First up with reports this evening is Honolulu Fire Department. The stage is yours. Mahalo.
Good evening. My name is Sean Yoshimura. I am a captain on Tower 40. I'm representing the stations 43, 35, and 40. That's Kapolei, Kai, East, and West, and Makakilo. So I'm going to start with a question that was posed last month. Someone asked fire-related incidents on New Year's Day and New Year's Eve. According to our statistics, there were no fire-related incidents in the neighborhood, number 34, which is this area, on December 31st, 2025, or January 1st, 2026. There were also questions posed to the mayor's office regarding Makakilo and wildfires. So the first question posed was, what is HFD's plan to keep Makakilo residents safe from fire emergencies like a wildfire? HFD response is the following. Honolulu Fire Department uses a comprehensive department-wide approach to protect Makakilo residents from wildland fire and other fire emergencies. The HFD collaborates closely with government agencies, private partners, and nonprofit organizations to strengthen prevention, preparedness, and response efforts. The HFD updated its wildland fire response plans and expanded community education efforts focused on home hardening or structure preparedness and vegetation management to reduce fire risk. HFD also conducts ongoing wildland fire hazard assessments, pre-incident planning in the Makakilo area based on critical factors such as historical fire response, wildland-urban interface conditions, access and evacuation routes, water supply availability, weather patterns, and topography. In addition, HFD works with large landowners, community partners to reduce wildland fire fuels and promotes prevention strategies. The department encourages Makakilo residents to participate in the Firewise USA program, a nationwide initiative that helps communities take proactive steps to reduce wildland fire risk. 15 Hawaii communities already recognized as participants. More information on becoming a Firewise community is available at the sign-in table on this sheet. A second question in regards to Makakilo was, is there enough water to stop a wildfire from spreading? So wildland fire mitigation and suppression depend on more than water alone. Fire behavior is influenced by multiple factors, including weather conditions, terrain, available vegetation, fuel type, and fuel moisture. HFD actively pre-plans the Makakilo area to ensure adequate water access for firefighting operations. This includes identifying the location and operability of fire hydrants and evaluating water supply systems to support fire suppression efforts. Homeowners play a critical role in reducing wildland fire risks. Residents can harden their homes by enclosing eaves, screening vents with fine metal mesh to prevent ember intrusion, and keeping gutters and roofs clear of dry leaves and debris. Maintaining a defensible space around the home by trimming trees, removing dead vegetation, and keeping grass cut low and can slow the spread of fire. Regular maintenance, proper storage of combustible materials, and preparing an evacuation plan can further strengthen a household's ability to withstand a wildfire. These protective measures help protect life, property, and environment in the event of a wildfire. So those were the questions asked. Any questions to that?
Mahalo for the report and doing so well on the homework. Appreciate it. Any questions from the board? Chair recognizes Dr. Yoni Dudley. Go right ahead.
It's not a question, it's just a comment. Our board has really strongly supported Senate Bill 2884, which we hope to have heard in WAM this next week. And it talks about concrete houses and gives builders of concrete houses, which would be far more fire resistant, it gives them a 50% tax break on all the costs that they on the money they bring in when selling the house, 50% off. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Good.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? In person or online? Seeing none? Oh, almost. Member Sheila Medeiros, go right ahead.
It's not a question. I just have a comment. I'm thankful that I've never heard of, how long has Firewise USA program been in
It's a great
effect?
question. You happen to know? So that's Captain Logan Tomokio. He's a representative of the Wildland Urban Interface Group, which is our brush fire area group. So he says about 1995.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll definitely look into this and see if we can implement something here. Thank
Good.
you.
So I have more whenever you're ready.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, so the incident statistics for January 2026, we had 2 structure fires, 8 nuisance fires, which include rubbish fires outside of a structure or vehicle, 18 activated alarms, 205 medical emergencies, 6 motor vehicle crash/collisions. And one thing the department wanted you guys to know was our incident statistics reporting is going to change. We begin in January 1st, 2026. We're transitioning from our legacy National Fire Incident Reporting System, or NFIRS, to our modern National Emergency Response Information System, or NERIS. So what the major difference is, the 2 systems now, they're coded and classified a little differently. So there may be a result of fluctuations in certain types of incidents that differ from what the previously reported was. So we're addressing these items to ensure seamless incident statistic reporting. One of the categories, such as motor vehicle collision with a pedestrian, is currently unavailable due to the coding and classification changes. So we're working to resolve that. Our safety tip for this month, Honolulu Fire Department reminds the public to call 911 first if you have an emergency. Do not drive to a fire station nearest to your location. It is possible that a fire company will not be at the station due to responding to other emergencies or performing other duties such as fire inspections, training, or educational activities. When you call 911, the operator will dispatch the closest available fire company to your location. Remember when calling 911 to give the operator your initial need, they'll ask you police, fire, or EMS. And after you've been transferred to the appropriate agency, they will ask you for a description of your need or your emergency and your address and location. HFD is also able to field 911 text messages. So if you find yourself in a spot where you do not have good reception for voice communication, such as hiking, text your emergency to 911. That is all. Any questions?
Awesome. Any questions on the incident report and the awesome information regarding 911? For the board or the community at large? Seeing none? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Now let's keep it going with Honolulu Police Department. Come on down.
Aloha and good evening, board chair members and community of Kapolei. Sergeant Fumi Moroka with HPD community policing team in District 8. With me tonight is Corporal Roland Pagan, Lieutenant David Coralia, and Captain Carrera from District 8, as well as Lieutenant Tamara Torres from traffic, as well as traffic major Bertoria, and also Assistant Chief Brandon Nakasato. So I have the crime stats for January 2026. Motor vehicle thefts in the district was 27, 8 in Kapolei, sorry, 5. My glasses. Burglary 12 in the district, of which 3 was in Kapolei. 113 thefts in our district. Kapolei had 42. Car break-ins, 24 in our district. Kapolei had 8 of those. Speeding, 70 citations issued. Moving violations, 655. Parking violations, 102. Total citations in our area was 1,231. Total calls for service in our district, 8,450. Total calls in Kapolei, 2,732. Just to follow up on a few things that were brought up from the last meeting, we were asked about citations in our area, and we were asked to track them by specific location and a few other specifics, but we're not able to, we don't track them by specific locations. They're tracked by dates, the violations itself, and the beats that the citations were issued. So in order to get specifics like location, we'd have to go through each and every citations. And once they're turned in and submitted to court, it's really hard to track that. Yeah, so yeah, we just don't track them that specifically. Also, we were asked about the speed trailer. It is back in service, so there's a list of places that were requested. Since it was requested, we will rotate them into Makakilo Drive. I think that was where we were asked to put it up. I think that's it for the follow-ups. And so Assistant Chief Nakasato, he has a presentation, quick presentation. These are all the board members should have in front of you, and we have some more on the table here if anybody wants. And turn it over to you.
Good evening, Chair, board members, members of the community. Again, I'm Brandon Nakasato. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Investigative Bureau. So I'm here out of concern for the high number of traffic fatalities that we had on our island in 2025. So what we did was, what the department did was our analyst unit, they actually tried to break it down for the areas as well as contributing factors to even the ages of individuals involved in fatal traffic collisions as well as critical traffic collisions, which means critical means that an individual suffered serious bodily injury, okay, which could lead to death too. So it's all broken down in the pamphlet. I just wanted to emphasize some things that were prevalent. So most incidents involved motorcycles and mopeds, pedestrians and pedestrians. The trend was seen evening hours between 5 to 11. We had the most accidents happen during those times or collisions. The contributing factors, the main ones were speed was the leading factor, no helmet, not in a crosswalk for pedestrians, and individuals weren't wearing their seatbelts. The highest frequency among age groups was 19 to 25. So it's all broken down again further. The information will be available through our website. And the reason why we're here today, because again, we're very concerned. We have all the command staff here. We even have our public affairs office here. We're trying to push out that we need to have safer roads together, meaning that we're asking the community to help us do our part. Because if you look at the factors, speeding, no helmet, no crosswalk, no seatbelt, we would like a grassroots effort for with your help to speak to friends, families, to remind them, please buckle up, leave earlier for work. Motorcyclists, don't split lanes. You know, speeding is also a factor, or a helmet. You know, if we can help get the word out there, and constant reminders of that. Also, we wanted to be here. You know, the police department, we do enforcement, we do sign waving, we get other community engagements. Maybe we're missing something, some out of the box way that we could lessen the fatalities and accidents out there on the roads that we're not seeing. So we're asking the community, if you guys have any suggestions, please let us know. We're definitely open to suggestions and we'll take a look at them. Thank you very much.
Mahalo. Right now, it seems like we have some follow-up comments or questions. Going to first, Board Member Kayale.
Thank you, Men of the Blue. Thank you very much for coming here in force, and you too, Chief, if I may call you that. First and foremost, I know it's a thankless job wearing that uniform and enforcing things that people don't want to hear. The corridor I think you're talking about is between, let's just use the landmark, Target and maybe say Fort Shafter. That corridor, because my daughter goes to Kamehameha. So I got to pick her up in the middle of the day, late at night, and I see the merge. It's challenging. And I see the speed limit on the right, 60 miles an hour. That's fast. You know, maybe that could be a deterrent. Maybe change the MPH. You know, maybe you guys can talk story to DOT or something. And it doesn't mean they're going to slow down. They might get upset, but at least it's a visual. They can say, wow, it was 60 last year. Now it's 55. A five MPH change, it makes a big difference, I think. All the seatbelt education and stuff, it starts at home. And thank you guys for coming here, but we should get people on the radio talking story, reminding them. You know, maybe a PIO person can go on some of the local radio stations once a month to remind the people, you know, buckle up, if not shut up or whatever, you know, stuff like that. The simple local, you know, slangs, you know, we can use all that $10 words, but you know, I was raised in Kalihi. Come straight, man, come straight, no talk. You know, a matter of fact, I used to hang out at Mr. Muraoka's store, his family store back in the day. But anyway, yeah, maybe we change MPH You know, we educate people on the radio, maybe even every now and then, we got streamlines, use the streamline and remind people, you know, through the online stuff. You know, just a thought, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to Dr. Amy Bosler.
Hi, thank you again for being here. We do appreciate you very much. And I had a question because our board has been talking a lot about the crosswalks that disappeared on Makakilo Drive. And I think this is very interesting statistics saying that 17% of the fatalities on our island are because of lack of crosswalks, which is a major problem in Makakilo Drive. We don't have crosswalks. And even up to 36% have died in District 5 due to lack of crosswalks. So these statistics are very helpful for us as a board as we continue to discuss this and try to advocate for getting these crosswalks reinstalled. My question though was last month we had a representative from, I believe, the mayor's office. I apologize, it might have been the governor, who said that according to her, pedestrians can cross Makakilo Drive in unmarked crosswalk areas, that they had free access. And we wanted to just confirm that that's what you all are policing, that because in town we know that that's a fine, jaywalking is fined, but we were told by a representative that it's okay on Makakilo Drive, and that's very concerning considering the amount of fatalities we're having for lack of crosswalks. So there's some misinformation.
Yeah, so Doctor, thank you for that comment. Just a quick comment also towards that is a lot of pedestrians aren't using crosswalks. So that's a contributing factor also. But Acting Captain Torres will answer the crosswalk.
So as far as the crosswalks, if some have disappeared, what you could also do is you can reach out to us, because what we would have to do is get in touch with like DTS, because they're the ones that we usually talk to or contact if you need crosswalks, if you need some of the humps in the road to slow it down in certain areas. Another thing is for the places that do not have actual lined crosswalks, they are permitted to cross from corner to corner where there are no crosswalks. The problem also is, I think, with the drivers, they are not recognizing that they are able to still cross without a crosswalk as long as it's from corner to corner where there are no crosswalks located or actually on the roadway. But at the same time, the pedestrian needs to be aware that the vehicles might not see them, especially if they're wearing dark clothing and it's nighttime. So what we have been doing, and I know a lot of the districts have been doing, that they are attempting to educate the public and the pedestrians. Like the chief said earlier, we're hoping that we're coming out to the community so the community can also educate their friends and their families, because it's up to us as well as the community to make sure that we tell our loved ones, make sure you look both ways before crossing the road. We've actually come out with our Safer Roads presentations. Hopefully that people go to our website, go to the Facebook site, go to the Instagram site so they can continue to read the message, pass along the message, and hopefully we can get it across to most people that they'll pay attention. Unfortunately, some of our incidents where we have had the fatalities, they're not always, I guess, we all know that we have a homeless problem and a homeless population in here. So, and sometimes it comes with mental health issues as well. So they may not be aware of what they're doing because they're just reacting and acting to situations. So some of our, unfortunately, some of our fatalities have also included that. So it's not always the driver's fault. So we just have to make sure that we are more aware and cognizant of what's going on around us. But again, if you do have certain areas that you would like to see crosswalks, you can also reach out to us. But a lot of times we do also reach out to DTS, DOT and everything to see if they can get those crosswalks installed for you.
Let's go to the Transportation Committee Chair, Mick Ferrer.
Hi there. I used to work for a department in the Bay Area, and I was voluntold to work with the speed trailers and with our VIPs, or volunteers and police services. They used to drag those around town wherever we assigned them to go out and put them out there. And we had people that were writing grants for them for those. We used to have one of these radars on a sign up by the fire station until a speeder hit it and wiped it out. And they found that they weren't going to replace it. One of the things with DTS with the crosswalks was they went out there and did surveys off hours from school and said that they weren't being used enough. So when Makakilo Drive was repaved, they didn't put the crosswalks back in. They still have the signs up saying cross here, but there wasn't any. Well, I've got some of the handouts over there on that table for the radar trailers. I understand that the one we have here, it might be like maybe one or two, and they're probably over 30 years old. Even back when I was in it, we used to have them with these little pin printers, and it would draw traffic data. And these now broadcast to a cloud, and I'd like to be able to somehow find funding to get the police department maybe 4 or 5 of these. And if I have to go to, some of the fraternal organizations in town and see if we can get money together to be able to try and sponsor some of these, I think it would probably be something that overall, in the overall big picture, we used to get calls from people, "Oh, somebody's speeding in my neighborhood at 2:30 every day." And, we'd either find that, they were saying lots of people, and it turned out it's like one, and then we'd end up catching them. But the radar trailers, most of all, is just showing, here's how fast you're going. And that's what this guy would do coming down the hill. But the other one gives us traffic data. And so we could put it in different places, know how much traffic's going through there, how fast they're going, and at what time they're going. And that way they can allocate officers to be able to do enforcement or, so much as to change speed limits and things like that. But you got to be able to have the funding to be able to do it. And I don't know, since I don't work for you guys, I don't know what the grant writing protocol is for things like this. But I'd like to tell you that the public would be willing to try to participate in getting some of that funding together to be able to get some of these. And I've been talking to this company to try to get some pricing from them and haven't gotten that quite that far yet. So that's kind of what I'm working on as transportation chair right now. Since I had all the officers here, normally my report comes further down into the meeting, but hey, I got a captive audience, so I'm gonna pitch my radar thing. So anyway, I appreciate you guys coming out here and taking the time, and I want you to be safe and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Board Member Sheila Medeiros and afterwards back to Board Member Hale.
First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do. I know, like Moon said, it is a thankless job sometimes, but we do appreciate everything. I do want to add some support for you folks because I understand this is a messaging campaign and you are short-staffed, I know. So as the board community outreach, we're going to do our part to try to get your messages out through our neighborhood boards, Facebook page, our social media to help you folks out by providing a link from your public relations and help that way. I also have a suggestion. I know because you are trying to get to the granular level, grassroots. It is incumbent on individuals, but also upon families to message this point of safety. So I'm not sure if you have the capacity, but subdivisions, going to villages of Kapolei, going to Mehana, going down to that level, and maybe some people will volunteer to help message that. But we'll do our part in helping you spread the message of individual responsibility. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Board Member Hale.
Thank you, sir. Just a shout out, last fall, you guys had a graduating class, and I think this spring you guys had a recruit class just graduated. So I can see that the numbers are slowly narrowing where, hopefully you guys get it's not going to be 100%, but at least it's closer to it. And we thank you all for, going that extra mile to cover other districts that's short, and thank you all from the board. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Are there any other presentations from the HPD team today?
Thank you for your guys' time.
Okay, mahalo nui loa. We appreciate you all coming out in force. At first, I thought you was going to come and arrest somebody over here on the front. Who was the one? Who did it? Okay, mahalo. Appreciate it.
Thank you for an eventful meeting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on down.
Two things. I'm originally from California, and my name's Leslie, Keating, neighborhood resident. I'm originally from California, and we had a much stronger helmet law. I'm not sure when it was instituted, sometime during my childhood, but by the time we were in the 90s, we had a strong helmet law. So I'm not sure with the legislative process what that's like. But it seems like something that we should do. I don't know that if children are supposed to be wearing helmets, whether or not our school resource officers, not necessarily citing them, but giving them reminder cards to wear their helmets, because I can tell you at Ho'okele and the middle school, there are very few children wearing helmets. And those school resource officers are there. They have the ability to educate. Also, at drop-off lines, there's many, and this is in the elementary school that I see this on a regular daily occurrence, many toddlers wandering about the cabin. And I know it's not those toddlers that have been seatbelting themselves in. So somehow they're let loose in the back to come into the school, and maybe the teachers could say something, because I feel like it's our responsibility for these young children, especially who are too young to even make those choices to do that. But then I have one more thing, and it's not traffic related. Unfortunately, yesterday at Kapolei Middle School, there was an incident, and I'm concerned. I mean, there's incidents, but my main concern was the use of pepper spray. Pepper spray was deployed. I guess it was that bad. My son, fortunately, was not there when it occurred. It was right after school. He would have been at that location if it wasn't for band practice that day. But I have children that have problems with breathing. These are chemical weapons that have chemicals that we don't know the long-term effects of. And so I'm both concerned, and I hope it was used in a way that it wasn't directed with the smoke towards the kids and everybody was okay with that. But I'm not okay with it, and I'm worried about these kind of things being used on the general civilian population. And I wasn't there, so I don't know how bad the incident was or how rowdy all the kids were, but that's my concern, and I would like to at least know what your guys' policy is on that kind of thing.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for your question. Just so you know, the incident is still being investigated. However, just some overall information. What had happened was there were some girls fighting. A group of girls attacked one girl. The officer was there alone at the time, went to go grab one of the girls that was assaulting the girl. When he went to go grab the girl, 3 girls grabbed him, and a couple of others grabbed the other girl that he was trying to grab. Pepper spray is one of our lowest level uses of force. And he used it because he was outnumbered. And yeah, some people might say it's an officer with girls, but you never know what else they're going to grab at the time. The spray was directed at them. Of course, yeah, it does dissipate and go to different areas. It's hard to say, but when kids gather around to watch a fight, that's one thing that we're concerned about as well. Because if somebody has a gun, the gun doesn't go to always its intended purpose. So, we just ask if they see something like that, best to just stay away from the area. As far as we know, there's no long-term effects other than they may not like pepper anymore. They may not want to use chili pepper on their foods anymore. But other than that, there's nothing that is a long-term effect on them. And they are offered treatment at the time that before they're taken in, if anything. Mahalo for the question and for the response. And any other questions from the community at large? Okay, come on down.
Good evening. My name is Mike. I'm from Kapolei. My concern is Campbell Industrial, Loa Boulevard. I know you mentioned the time from 5 to 11. Is that morning or is that evening? PM. Okay. Well, Campbell Industrial is like the same hour, but morning, meaning I think I need to see you guys out there in rush hour by say 4:30, 5 o'clock, because honestly, my brother been taking me to work and I work at the convenience center. There's a security guard, and there's people or drivers. Man, they drive like this on the freeway, 60 miles per hour. Whoa. Like, whoa. Say to myself, what's the rush? You know, and it's sad. I know you guys short-handed, and I mean, if nobody speaks up, you guys not going to be able to know about it. So my concern is like maybe you guys should be in like blind spots, dark areas, especially, and go where you guys speak guns and catch these idiots, because we don't need any more fatalities and traffic accidents like how we had last year. Last year was really a disgrace. But you know, I pray for you guys every day, and I'm thankful for you guys' service. Mahalo.
Mahalo community member for raising the concern that is plaguing the Kembo industrial area. Okay, any other questions, comments, or concerns for HPD? Seeing none, we will try and do our best to get the message out there regarding safety and including trying to activate and work with you all with our neighborhood watches to get into the granular level of our communities about the fact that we want to see our loved ones come home. Like that's the bottom line. Okay, mahalo, appreciate it. You guys have a good evening. Now let's have the Board of Water Supply. Live and in person. Wow.
Aloha, guys. Did you miss me? Apologies. I was out for a little bit for another surgery. So I am Nikki with Board of Water Supply. I have a couple announcements and then a follow-up to the question that HFD addressed. So our first announcements, there were no water main breaks in the Makakilo, Kapolei, Honokai, Hale area in January. And we are announcing our 2026 poster and poetry contests. Our theme this year is Everyday Conservation. The contest is open to students in grades K through 6 for the posters and grades 7 to 12 for the poetry. So the deadline is just in a couple of days, but all of the schools have been notified. It's also open to homeschool students, so feel free to go to boardofwatersupply.com/WCW contests for more info. And we also invite everybody to join us as we recognize World Water Day on March 22nd, 2026. World Water Day is an annual United Nations observance to raise awareness about the more than 2 billion people living without access to safe water. The global water crisis affects everyone, but especially women and girls. They carry the heaviest burden when safe water and sanitation aren't available. And there's actually more than 1 billion women that still lack access to safely managed drinking water. The theme this year is Where Water Flows, Equality Grows. And throughout March, and especially on the 22nd, you can check our social media pages, our website, boardofwatersupply.com/WWD for stories, videos about the global water crisis. And you can also go on to the United Nations website. They have global activities and more information. And then just to touch on the question that was asked last month about the water, being enough water to stop a wildfire from spreading. So as HFD mentioned, there's no easy answer, as much of it depends on the size of the fire. No city has a fire hydrant system designed to fight large wildfires. It's not possible to design a system that could fight a wildfire of the kind that we have seen in Lahaina or LA and still be affordable and practical for everyday use. As for how long the water would last, again, that's something that we cannot speculate on. There's just too many factors, again, the size of the fire, but there were many factors that played into the failure of the hydrants in Lahaina and LA that was just beyond the actual available water supply. But Board of Water Supply, we do maintain and we test the fire hydrant system regularly. If you have any concerns about hydrants, you notice any leaks, you can call us, give us the address, and we'll come check on it. Our field crews are very quick. They'll come out the same day. You can also go on to the the Honolulu 311 app. That is a great tool. It goes to customer service department, and then it's allocated out to the responsible department. But we do work closely with city and state agencies and other groups on the wildfire issues. The mayor has a wildfire planning group, and BWS is heading the long-term hazard mitigation subcommittee. So we do take our community safety seriously, and we are always looking on ways to ensure that we can do as much as we can. Just a note on that 311 app, if you notice that somebody is parking in front of a hydrant, just call 911, place non-emergency. A lot of people are putting in fire hydrant, and then it gets routed to customer service and then to us, and then we have to reroute to police department because we can't do anything about parking. So, but if you have any questions, concerns, happy to take those out.
Mahalo. Great to have you back with us. And let's get going with questions, starting with Dr. Amy Balsa. Go ahead.
Sorry, just more of a comment. If you could give us a little bit more advance notice for the poster contest next year, that would be great. We have a really active homeschool community on Oahu, and this hasn't been on any social media pages or any of the, there hasn't been any chatter about this, and I know our kids would love to get involved in this as well. So I don't know, it's 2 days. It might be really short notice for this year, but if we could get advance notice, maybe when you send it out to the schools, just let the boards know so we can push it out to the homeschool communities too.
Absolutely. I do try to let my boards know early, but I've been out. But I will relate to our communications team to do a stronger push on the advertising for it.
Now let's go to member Sheila Medeiros.
Hello, welcome back. I want to address the question I asked like last year to the, I'm not sure if it was you, I don't think it was, but it had to do with infrastructure. And do we, the Board of Water Supply, have the capacity to sustain all of this new growth in Kapolei, because we're having notices from the Board of Water Supply to limit the water use. So now we have multiple developments coming up in Kapolei, to include Ka'alailoa. And my question was back then, was what is the mechanism that you folks use to determine the water amount that you have that we can actually facilitate all of this growth? Because it makes no sense to me if we're developing all of these places and they move in and they don't have water. Because we live on an island, it's not unlimited. And is there a desalinization plan? What are the options out there? Because eventually we're gonna have way too many people, too many houses, and we can't support. So I just need to know, my question was, how are you guys tracking this so that we can actually sustain all of these homes that's popping up here?
I will get you further information, but just for your notes, we are working on the Kalaeloa desalination facility. So just are hitting some red tape. So we're working on that right now, but I will get you a more detailed answer.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the neighborhood at large? Anyone online or in person? Okay, Dr. Dudley.
I just do want to say that, the question that she's asking is a very important question that we would all like an answer to. The truth of the matter is that we could use natural water as a way of keeping the island from being covered entirely with houses. I very strongly object to desalinization, because as soon as we start getting into desalinizing water, there's no limit to how many houses we can have here. If we're going to really hold on and say, enough is enough, we are not going to cover over our island, we have to find ways to do it. And this is certainly a way to do it. Thank you.
I'll look for that question.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Well, we look forward to what you bring back next month.
Thank
Okay,
you. Vic.
thank you. Now let's go to Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative. I believe the Deputy Director Zeisman is online.
Aloha. Thank you so much, Chair. Good to see you all, board members. Sorry to be on the video today and not there in person. We have a number of things for you this evening. So first off, announcement. I shared this last month, but just to reiterate that we have a new Honolulu 311 system, as the representative for Board of Water Supply also stated. It is great. I encourage everyone in the community to try it out. It is the new app, both for Apple and Android, where you can report issues on the spot, take photos from your phone, and it immediately goes to the proper department. So for things like illegal dumping, potholes, etc. So please try out the 311 system. Next, I have a number of follow-ups to the many questions from last month. So I will try to get through them and then take new questions. So first off, the question about pickleball striping and if residents would be allowed to paint lines themselves. So Department of Parks and Rec noted, thank you for sharing your feedback and passion for expanding pickleball opportunities in our community. We must reiterate that permanent dual striping will not be permitted on the tennis court at Makakilo Community Park. This decision is based on the need to maintain safe and equitable access for all park users and to prevent conflicts that have unfortunately occurred island-wide, including incidents requiring HPD intervention, disputes over permits, and reports of players being excluded from shared spaces. For these reasons, residents will not be allowed to paint permanent lines themselves, even within city guidelines. We appreciate the willingness to contribute, but permanent markings would create enforcement challenges and further exacerbate these issues. Pickleball players may continue to use temporary tape markings when courts are available. We recognize this requires extra effort, and we sincerely appreciate the community's flexibility and commitment to making shared use of the space work for everyone. They then did note that Makakilo Community Park does have 2 lined courts on the volleyball courts that are available for pickleball play. And that in addition, there are many other parks, including about 15 in the Leeward Oahu district that are available for pickleball. And I will make sure the NCO rep, we can share the list. If you folks have it, we can share the long list of various pickleball courts around. So that is the pickleball striping. The next issue from last month, there were a number of questions about Makakilo Drive. So first up was the question about the sidewalk and ADA compliance because of the light posts and what could be done about the sidewalk. So DDC, the Department of Design and Construction, investigated the sidewalk area and the light poles. They have started developing plans to widen the sidewalk at the locations that you folks pointed out, and they are consulting with the State Department of Health, Disability and Communication Access Board on ADA compliance. They did want me to note that based on their evaluation, it is not feasible to fully meet ADA standards because of the grade of Makakilo Drive. It's steep there. However, they're going to coordinate with DFM, Department of Facilities Management, to construct the sidewalk widening upon completion of the plans and the approval and review of the access board. So hopefully we'll improve access of the sidewalk on Makakilo Drive. Okay, next issue on Makakilo Drive. I think HPD covered the question about crossing where there's not a crosswalk. Thank you, HPD, for that. Okay, the next question was around what types of traffic calming could be considered by DTS, Department of Transportation Services, as well, and HPD kind of mentioned that as well. So we had discussed before, I know someone raised the issue of speed humps, and I believe it was said last time as well that speed humps are not appropriate because of the vertical grade of the roadway. It's too steep for the speed hump. However, DTS noted that they did implement lane narrowing on Makakilo Drive between Halalai and Alahoi Street, and with the installation of a shoulder parking lane. They've also put in a work order to incorporate new raised pavement markers along the entire length of the shoulder and parking lane to provide additional guidance, especially at night. And they have a project in design phase to implement what is called a road diet. That was a new term to me for Makakilo Drive. But a road diet is a proven safety measure used elsewhere that takes down the number of lanes. That's the diet, I guess. So if you had, for example, a 3-lane road, it would be to move it to a 2-lane road with, I'm not sure if it would be parking or a bike or whatever. But so they have a project in design to do a road diet on Makakilo Drive, and noted that once the conceptual plans are finalized, they will share it back to the community for input. To continue thinking about traffic calming on Makakilo Drive and what might be feasible, because I think everyone appreciates the board's real concerns around safety, and no one wants to see traffic fatalities. So I think I agree this is a matter we all need to take really seriously. Okay, let's see what else on Makakilo Drive. HPD did note the trailer, the speed trailer. There was a question about that last time, and they briefly mentioned it, but just to reiterate, the speed trailer has been repaired. Before the issue was it was broken. So the trailer has been repaired, and it will be placed at different locations around the district and rotated through. So it is noted that it will be placed on Makakilo Drive. And if the board or community has specific suggestions as to where on Makakilo Drive they think a trailer should be stationed, input is definitely appreciated, but it's back in rotation, and so it will start to go back up on Makakilo Drive again. And let's see if there's another Makakilo Drive. I think that was the info I received on the traffic issues. The other Makakilo Drive question was actually the Makakilo Drive extension, and to get an update on what was happening with the Makakilo Drive extension project. So DTS noted that at this point, no federal, state, or city funding has been identified for the Makakilo Drive extension. So the city is continuing to monitor any future federal funding opportunities, but at this point, there are no current plans or funding commitments to advance the Makakilo Drive extension beyond the conceptual planning that was already conducted. That was on the extension. And there was a second question regarding emergency access roads, I guess, somewhat separate of Makakilo. Sorry. The Department of Emergency Management is working with Grace Pacific and other landowners to explore the development of an emergency access road that could be available for use during emergency situations, but it is independent of the Makakilo Drive extension. It's just about emergency prep and access. If there's other questions on that, I'm happy to try to follow up more as well, but that's the info I have on that for this evening. The HPD covered some of these. Okay. Next up, there were a number of questions about skyline stations and parking. Was the next section. And let's go one by one on that. So the first question was if the city was planning to expand Park and Ride and the Musubi lot near Kapolei Parkway. So park and ride. So DTS noted that park and ride system along Skyline will continue to expand during segment 3 opening. The next segment, they're going to continue opening more park and rides. That the Musubi lot bordered by Kapolei Parkway and Alohikea Street is slated for a future permanent Kapolei Transit Center development. It is not planned to be used as an interim park and ride. And so for the interim period, this lot, as well as downtown Kapolei, will be connected to Skyline via routes C, 40, 46, and 416. The second question about Skyline was if there was a way for public transit riders to see if there's available parking stalls at the park and ride. And DTS noted that they do not have current plans to install live cameras for viewing lots in real time, but they are currently launching studies on parking utilization at all park and rides to determine current usage and trends and adapt as needed. The next question was about how enforcement of illegal and unauthorized parking was being handled. So the use of park and ride lots is limited to a 24-hour period, with DTS regularly monitoring usage as the ridership continues to develop and evolve. HPD will assist with the removal of any abandoned vehicles or other vehicles in violation of the 24-hour policy. And in unusual events such as emergencies or natural disasters, DTS will use discretion in allowing longer term stays at park and ride lots, understanding that users might be experiencing unanticipated circumstances. And the last question about Skyline and park and ride was, does the city plan to install solar canopies at park and rides? DTS noted that all the Skyline park and rides except Kahuiki and Kalaloa Station are on land owned by entities other than the city. So they could not comment on that because they're owned by other entities. However, DTS is looking to maximize spots where solar canopies make sense on the city properties. So it sounds like on that, yes, potentially to the 2, and maybe to future lots as well. And those are my updates on park and ride and Skyline. Next. The next question was raised about traffic congestion at Kapolei and Kalaeloa. There was a lot of traffic and questions about what improvements could be made to traffic signals to improve the traffic congestion near the area by Costco and Home Depot. DTS reported that during December and January, the heavy holiday and shopping season, DTS did observe a significant increase in traffic in the Kapolei Parkway, Kalaeloa Boulevard area. They adjusted the signal timing to keep traffic flowing, and they are currently monitoring the area and will make further adjustments to the signal timing if needed. So I think this is an area to keep in touch with. If you folks notice there's an improvement or not, to let me know, and I can get that information back to DTS. Okay, traffic. And let's see. And the last piece I have an update for you on was the issue raised around issuing driver's licenses and Department of Customer Service. The issue was temporary cards were being issued and those were not accepted as a travel document by TSA. It's not a real ID. So just for context for folks who weren't in the meeting, it was an issue that folks had a temporary ID and that was not sufficient for travel if you're needing to fly. So CSD said, we appreciate the concern about the driver's license renewal procedure. And to answer the question, state law requires the surrender of all valid driver's licenses and identification cards at the time of the issuance of a new or renewed license, and the surrendered card shall be shredded. Also, the same law states that one may only have one valid driver's license at any time. And federal law also prohibits holding more than one real ID card or more than one driver's license. The second part of the question posed last month was, could things be expedited? I think because of this issue of only being allowed to have one license at a time. And CSD replied, the Real ID security features contained within driver's licenses and state ID cards require specialized equipment that make it impractical to issue on-the-spot cards. CSD expects to have tracking and expedited delivery of those credentials in the future. So they're trying to expedite. They did not give me a date when they would have expedited. And then there were a few other issues that I have not been able yet to get information back. But just to let you know, I'm working on it. I will report back next month as soon as I can. So one was on the status of Makakilo Bluffs. I'm waiting to hear back from DPP. The second was board member Carol England asked about the utility box painting and beautification. I'm waiting to hear back from the department in charge of that area as well. So I will report back on those two matters, hopefully by next month. I believe that concludes my follow-up. I'm happy to take other questions or follow up on any of those matters.
Mahalo for the thorough report, and let's get cracking. Let's start with Dr. Amy Bosler. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for such a thorough presentation and answering most of our questions. I'm raising a concern tonight about the road diet. We definitely need calming measures. That's not debatable. But I am very concerned about the idea of lessening the number of lanes on Makakilo Drive, especially considering that the extension is not on anyone's list, even though we've been waiting over 30 years for this extension. Additionally, there is traffic congestion coming up Makakilo Drive and coming down in certain times of the day. So limiting the roadway seems like it's going to create a lot more traffic congestion and trouble for us. And then also I'm concerned about lowering the number of lanes with this diet, considering we don't have an emergency egress routes. So in an emergency situation, what will happen to all of these folks in Upper Makakilo? We don't have a way for them to get off the mountain. And so lowering the number of lanes seems like not the best option for us. So I just wanted to raise that concern, and I will let the other board members raise some questions for you. Thank you.
Okay, who's going next? Let's go to Dr. Dudley.
I want to say that I agree 100% about the diet and going to less lanes. It's crazy. What we have been successful with is driving slower ourselves at the top of the hill. You know, I would say that at least 1/3 of the cars now are going 28 miles an hour across the top. And that's really, really something. I think that that carries on to where you see an awful lot of cars going down the hill at 38 miles an hour. And, you know, if we could somehow get out on the street, I'm not able to get out anymore and wave signs and so forth, but the real way to get people to slow down, I think, is to ask them to show that they belong. You know, this is the way we do it. And That's what we spread at the top over the last few years. I'd also want to know, we have somebody tonight speaking about the exceptional tree program. Is that something that you got in response to the question of what's happening to our trees? And if it's not, I want to show pictures tonight of the trees on the hillside here. It's just, it's crazy. So thank you.
Okay, next on the docket, let's go to Nick Ferrer. Go ahead.
Hi there. You had said that there was, they said that there was no federal money for the Makakilo Drive completion. What we've been waiting for is DTS to release the environmental report because we had a meeting with the mayor, DTS, and the mayor's right-hand guy, Mike Formsby, and we had indicated that we were going to try to get money locally and state, and for that reason, we need the environmental assessment. They said that they could not give the environmental assessment to get federal money unless the project is on the tip, which is at OMPO. And since it's not on the tip, they can't release the environmental assessment. So we said, well, we're going to work on getting the money locally. So go ahead and release that. And it was committed to us by Roger Morton and his environmental person who he had with him at the meeting that they were going to release to us the environmental assessment. This was over a year ago and we still have not got it. So could you in fact go to the mayor and ask that DTS release the environmental assessment so that funds can be pursued at the local and state level? That's one thing. Then the other thing is the speed alert radar trailer and message sign. I wanted to find out about the possibility of somehow getting funding from the city and being able to get a few of the radar trailers, since the one that they have that keeps breaking down is close to 40 years old. I thought it was 30. It's old enough to drink anyway. And it's the only one they got left. So we need the ones that pick up data, traffic data, because right now it's really big on the agenda that there's a lot of traffic deaths, and the police department needs that extra tool to be able to track where the problem areas are for speeding. And then also the speed alert sign. Since we lost our radar sign by the fire department, it was never replaced. So maybe somehow there's a pot of money there that might be able to help the police department, since they're not having to fund 500 jobs and retirements. They have the money to be able to maybe put together some electronic police officers, as it were, to monitor our traffic. So could you find out about that as well? Thank you.
Let's go to board member Sheila Maderas.
Hi, good evening. Just want to echo Dr. Bosler's comment on your thorough report. Thank you so much. I know it's a lot, especially for one neighborhood board. I do have a comment and question. So for the pickleball, I know it may be a minor thing for the city and county, but that's a big thing for a lot of people up in Makakilo. And it still does not pass the common sense test that a line would exacerbate issues. So is there something historical that a line added to an existing tennis court has caused conflict? Like, is there a police report that says people are fighting over this issue in order to play? So that just doesn't make sense to me. And I still don't understand why a line can't be painted, not by the community, since that's the issue. It should be painted by city and county. So that is still not acceptable, but that's what you folks are stating. Makes no sense. Timeline for ADA, thank you so much. I'm really happy that you folks have acknowledged that is an issue. Thank you very much, because we don't want to have to be reactive and do things after somebody has been tragically killed or hurt. I would appreciate, along with all the board members, I think they would agree that we get a timeline. Because is this going to take months, years? Because the community deserves to know when this is going to take place, so we can keep you folks accountable to getting this thing done and not being told it's in the process. I think we've been down this road before with many things, and we're in the process. Well, we want to know what the timeline is for these things that you are mentioning. And I don't want to, it's not you, you're the messenger, and I thank you for that. For Makakilo Extension and the emergency access. Now, is Representative Kanani Souza online? If she is, I'd like her to answer, because HB 1908, HB 1910, that was introduced this legislative session. I personally didn't see the notification of the hearing until the night before the hearing. This has been such an important issue for Makakilo, just like Mick Ferreira just mentioned, decades. This was the perfect opportunity in January when we had our meeting to let us know, the public know, that this bill was being introduced. Because right now, when I looked at it, for HB 1908, for the Makakilo extension, there was only 11 testimonies. 11. We have thousands of people up in Makakilo. So that tells me the mobilization to get the word out for the residents of Makakilo wasn't done. HB 1910, there was four support testimonies, 5 in total. So what was actually done? Was the notification sent out so we could have supported you? Because we all wanted this done. We would have supported these 2 measures. So I would like to see or hear from Representative Souza on what her mobilization effort was for HB 1908 and HB 1910. Thank you.
Mahalo. Next up on the chopping block, next up is Board Member Hale. Go right ahead.
Aloha. Thank you very much for your extensive and accurate reports. I just want to note the effort of the tram, the light rail, and it's being used a lot by our communities to ride to the airport, and it seems to be a convenient stop and return. And I'm looking forward to using it again. And thank you, light rail, and the Skyline, excuse me. Thank you, Skyline staff and crew. Keep up the good work. Aloha.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the board? Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Okay, come on down.
Good evening. My question is, I noticed across Kapolei Regional Park, now the intersection by Hale gas station, it's been shut down since they had opened this intersection. My question is, what DOT or mayor's office gonna do with that section? Because it's like an open lane. So you're homeless going there now. You can drive through, but you cannot go nowhere. So I'm like, why can't they connect that road to the intersection, and that would decrease the traffic by the 7-Eleven and the old Consolidated Theater. It's like afternoon and morning hours is hectic. A lot of traffic and backed up. And I said to myself, man, if they can make a ramp and that would decrease the traffic especially people going into town or west side, that'll be good. But it's like, why they have to shut down that section? Since they didn't open that, you, in, they overpass. And another concern that I have is like Barrington Highway between Kapolei Golf Course to Walmart. The trees along the highway, if you look at night, you can't even see the street lights because the branches is blocking the lights and it's dark, especially if you're riding using the bike lane like I do with my electric scooter. Even though I have a light and my flashing light on my helmet, it's not safe. I cannot even see the road. It's dark. So would the mayor of DOT trim those trees and clean up all the debris on along the side, because this goes into the drain, and you don't want to have waste management problems like we had over the weekend in Wailua and the North Shore side, Windward side. Man, thankfully it wasn't that bad, but it's like, look at the graphics, like, come on. I was thinking to myself, look like one hurricane. This storm we really hit. But thank God everybody was safe. Nobody got hurt or killed. Yeah, thank you.
Mahalo. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the community at large? Okay, going to board member Sheila Maderas.
Hi, I just have one more question in regards to the environmental assessment for Makakilo Drive extension. When was that actually done? Like what year? And if it was out, if it's like, I read somewhere it was 2009. So based on the composition now, it's definitely changed. Is that environmental assessment still valid? And if not, then why is the city saying that there is one?
Let
Any
me
other
let me
questions?
follow up on that. I was gonna say the notes I have actually state it was completed in February 2009. So, but let me follow up and find if there was one after. After.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the community? Okay, seeing none, have some suggestions as you work with the various parties to try and figure out how to do better Makakilo Drive. I understand that they're working on a road diet program to then bring back to us. Would it also be helpful? I think it would be helpful for us if they could also consider what it would cost just to restripe the sidewalks that used to exist and putting up the speed radar that used to exist, because it may not quote unquote be used, but the psychology studies show that when people see that there's an area where people actually walk, they tend to slow down. So it's a signal to them as they're going. So because there is real concern that if you do close the lanes from 3 to 2, then it makes it that much more difficult in emergency situations for people to enter and exit that one area. So just an alternative, they can try and pitch the diet. Maybe we're just all envisioning it being wrong somehow, right? So let's see and give the department a chance to show us what it looks like. But maybe a cost comparison for just repainting and putting up the speed radar would be, I think, super helpful, practical next steps. Also, can you inquire for us regarding the extension plans or the current station, East Kapolei station and then the proposed West Kapolei station, is the city able to enter into a public-private partnership or a public-public partnership, say with like the Department of Education for vertical school? Like, is that even possible, right? Like, because we need the infrastructure, and under the current DOE requirements, they need massive campus with lots of land. But can we not like pilot, like what's going on, like some of our other private schools that are already vertically integrated in Kapolei? Like, just can you see if that's permissible for us to even think about advocating for or exploring as an option? Those
Can I
make
just
sense?
clarify? Is the question, Chair, the integration of a vertical school at the station? Is that the question?
Right, like right now,
Okay.
all of our stations are made separate, standalone
Mhm.
facilities. Is there a reason why we can't integrate like a
Mhm.
public-public-private partnership and make the costs less and, you know,
Mhm.
private partnership with some people that want to put in commercial retail? We just want to see if that's possible, especially since it's not planned yet.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure I understood the question. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Seeing nobody else running up to the microphone, that's the only homework you have this week. We appreciate
Thank
the
you.
help.
And a few other things that were unanswered. So I will get back to you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, mahalo. Now let's go to OHA. Is there a representative online with us? Okay, no worries. They told us they will come as often as they could. Let's go to Ampo then with Uncle Frank Ganadio, our board liaison. Is he on?
Yes,
Welcome.
apparently, Mr. Chair, the lack of the drive's completion is part of the road diet here. For member Maderos, I have a copy of the 2009 EA, which shows no impact, no negative impact. At the February meeting of the Citizen Advisory Committee, or the CAC, OMPO Executive Director Mark Garrity reported that there were 150 attendees at the Transportation Forum, which will support future planning and legislative action. The Policy Board elected City Council member Val Okamoto as its new chair and Representative Darius Keela as its vice chair. In effect, they swapped jobs. Dallas Ige of OMPO again briefed on the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan, the ORTP, for 2050, which will guide the projects included in the Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP. OMPO is working on the final ORTP and has now published public comments on the website. I'll place the address for those comments in the chat area. In response to my complaint about the removal of the project for completion of Makakilo Drive, Mr. Ige implied that it will be back. The Director of Transportation Services comment on the site was that, quote, DTS is currently procuring consultant services to complete a planning and environmental linkages PEL report for the project. The PEL process will allow us to assess the current environmental and community impacts of any proposed action and determine the feasibility of the project. If the project is deemed feasible, including from cost-benefit perspective, DTS will request the project be added to the Transportation Improvement Program, and the PEL report will assist in updating the project's environmental assessment. End quote. My guess is that it may reappear in the ORTP as an illustrative project, a way to placate area residents without adding it to the TIP or doing anything related to funding. Now, I wonder how well the $79 million Nanakuli to downtown Honolulu bikeway and the $62 million bicycle and pedestrian bridge over the Alawai Canal would do under PEL analysis on a cost-benefit perspective. Likely they would fail miserably. As I mentioned, Mr. Chair, to you and other supporters of the project in a recent email, it is painfully obvious that most of the entrenched political and bureaucratic entities involved with transportation projects will not help complete Makakilo Drive. Mahalo.
Mahalo for your report. Any questions, comments, concerns on the OMPO report? Let's go to Board Member Sheila Maderas.
Thank you so much for that update. So help me understand, because you and the chair for transportation have more experience and knowledge on the environmental impact statement. So 2009 is when it was done. So my question is it still valid? Because this is 17 years. The composition of Makakilo has changed drastically. So does another environmental impact study need to be done? And if so, where are the funds going to come from? The city and county, or I'm not sure. So that's my question, because if that's the case, then that's another hurdle.
Well, if I may answer that, I think Chair Ferrara mentioned that the funding is not there, but the city, the mayor, in fact, and his director, Mike Formby, indicated that money would be there for the EA from the city. As far as the 2009 report, nothing's changed on that 4,000 linear feet area. And so to me, that report is still valid, and it indicated virtually no impact from completion of the drive. It's just something they don't want to spend the money on, and that's the bottom line.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns on the report? Let's go to Dr. Amy Bosler.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Do you happen to have a timeline, or were you given a timeline for this latest assessment that's being done on Makakilo Drive? You said it's probably just something to placate us, but I'm just wondering if there's a timeline for this to get done. Thank you.
No, they didn't give us any timeline. So it's easy to say something, but especially when you don't have to follow up.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the board or the community at large? Well, as the chair, I greatly appreciate your continued vigilance, Uncle Frank, and continuing to represent our interests well and bringing us factual and up-to-date information. Really appreciate it. Okay, so those are our reports for this evening. And now let's get to the presentations. We have 4 tonight, and we start off with the Exceptional Tree Program and Dr. Heather McMillan. Joining us online. Could you unmute when you get a chance? That'd be great.
I hope that worked. Aloha,
Yes.
Michael. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chair and board members, for your service to your community. It's so important. And thank you so much to the community members that are present tonight. It's really inspiring, the depth and of your commitment and the questions I hear you asking, the things that you're doing. It's really inspiring. So thank you again for allowing me some time to talk this evening about one of my favorite topics, trees. I'm setting my timer here because I can really get going, so I want to keep within my 10 minutes. My name is Heather McMillan, and I am our state urban and community forester. I'm also appointed as a member of the Mayor's Arborist Advisory Committee, and I will attempt to share my screen now. That appointment on the Arborist Advisory Committee is the reason why I'm here. Let's see. Here we go. How is that?
Great, we can see it. Awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, so today I'm here to talk about the Exceptional Tree Program, which is run by the City and County of Honolulu through our Division of Urban Forestry and also administered by our Arborist Advisory Committee. Before I dive into that, I want to just step a little bit aside and talk a little about who I am and the program that, you know, wearing a different hat I represent, which is with DLNR, I coordinate our state urban and community forestry program, which is called Ka'ulunani. And I wanted to bring this up because it's about trees. And also there are some resources that we can offer your community. We have a small grant program to help people plant trees, do environmental education, maintain their trees. We support municipalities and cities as they pursue the Arbor Day Foundation Tree City program, which is a recognition program. Every year we give support so communities can put on Arbor Day celebrations, and that's typically distributing trees to community members and doing education about that. Based on community requests, interest, and input, we have created 2 new programs in the last couple years. That is our Community Coconut Program, which is all about revitalizing coconut culture. There is a little bit of coconut rhinoceros beetle education woven into that, but the primary focus is propagating coconuts and getting them into communities. And also, we have our Shade Trees for Schools program, which is all about, that's pretty self-explanatory. And we support community workshops like technical trainings around how to care for trees, how to plant trees, even carving workshops led by cultural practitioners, for example, by our first artist in residence, Nalu Andrade, who's a traditional carver. So, okay, putting that aside, had to do a plug and want you guys to know that these are resources for your community as well. But the reason I'm here is to talk about the Exceptional Tree Program. And exceptional trees are those that are protected by the city and county ordinance. And this is intended to preserve and celebrate our community forest. Just listening to your conversations today, I've heard, you know, trees come up a couple different times. So I know this is something that you're cued into. Just to give a little overview of the Exceptional Tree Program, it came into being in 1975 through an act which is designed to protect these trees from improper pruning and removal. I'll talk a little about why that's so important in a moment. So if you have an exceptional tree on your property, you are eligible for a $3,000 tax deduction that can help offset the cost for maintaining that tree. We would like for that to be updated. 1975, $3,000 isn't the same as $3,000 today. And that's a conversation that we're having. Our committee accepts the nominations, reviews them, and approves them. And there are over 1,400 exceptional trees. And I want to point out, and groves. You can nominate a tree or a grove of trees in one nomination. These are across, Pai'aina. The concern that we're noticing is not many nominations are coming in, and we don't have representative exceptional trees from across our islands, as you'll see when I share a map. And many of these large trees that have been exceptionalized are aging out. Trees are living things. Everything has a lifespan, and some of these trees are senescing or aging out. Hopefully you have some idea of what exceptional trees look like. Maybe you've seen this one at Cocoa Crater, a Willy Willy tree, which is fantastic. One that people might be more familiar with is the Hitachi tree at Moanalua Botanic Gardens. There is the grove of monkey pods that lines Paki Avenue, also the grove of monkey pods on Kapiolani as you get close to Ala Moana Mall. There are a number of them in Ala Moana Park and other places around. But these big trees are really important. Trees are important generally because they improve our water and air quality. They help us be more resilient to climate change. Trees actually improve economy. There's research that shows a business district with trees performs better than one without trees. They help us with food security, community safety. Might be of interest that research shows that a tree-lined street actually is traffic calming, something to consider. Of course, trees help reduce extreme temperatures. Research shows also that they help kids think better. When they have trees available on their campus, they perform better. And a lot of work that shows that trees are critical for helping human health and well-being. So let's take a look across our islands about where we have tree canopy coverage. This map is showing the green areas where we have and where we have not tree canopy. So canopy is the stuff that if you were a bird flying over trees, that would be covering the ground. That's what we're referring to as canopy. If you have your smartphone handy, you can go to that QR code and look around on this resource, our tree canopy viewer. But just to give you an idea, this probably won't be much of a surprise. I highlight Oahu here. You see the Ko'olau Mountain and the Waianae Mountain ranges really have a lot of canopy. And as you get down into the more developed areas, we have less canopy. It should also not be a surprise that the places without trees are the places that are the hottest, the places that rank severe in the urban heat severity index. These are also areas with the most concrete, right? The most impervious surfaces, which also is something that any of us know just from walking down the street, but here it is documented across our islands. This is really important because extreme heat, according to the World Economic Forum, is the deadliest climate risk of our time, claiming more lives annually than floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, and wildfires combined. So those are dramatic events that take lives quickly, but extreme heat is a big risk that doesn't get as much attention, something that we should give more attention to, especially when we live in these urban heat islands, as you folks do, as I do. We need to think about the role of trees there. Like these exceptional trees are providing a lot of the benefits. You know, it's large trees with big canopy that help to cool surfaces, to cool air. And we really need to think about how to be strategic in promoting and planting canopy in the places where we live. Zooming in here, this is a tree canopy viewer. That is a tool also available through our program, which you can see across the state how your urban tree canopy rates. It's color coded. You can put in your address if you like. So I just put in the address for your meeting tonight. So you can see there, it's got a little pin and it's pretty low, 7% canopy. Some other neighborhoods that are included in your neighborhood board district, I show here, it's within 23 or under % canopy. And really research shows that in order to realize the benefits that tree canopy provides, you need at least 30% tree canopy coverage. So we really want to promote and protect these large trees. That's why I want to talk about exceptional trees. And these are trees you can nominate because of their historic or cultural value, their rarity, age, size, location. You can learn more if you go to the QR code on the website. And applications can be sent to the Division of Urban Forestry. I really encourage you folks to think about this for your places. If you do have an exceptional tree, it's protected. It needs to be pruned by a qualified arborist, which is supported through the Division of Urban Forestry to help you identify which are the qualified arborists to do the work. And those trees are protected once they're nominated, regardless if the property changes hands. So it's really a plan to protect them into the future. Quickly, I know my time is running out. Here's a map of exceptional trees on our island. I think you'll notice that there aren't any in your neighborhood. So please look around for trees that you think are exceptional and nominate them so we can protect them into the future for our keiki, for our keiki, and even for us today. Happy to answer any questions that you have, but thank you again so much for your time. Mahalo.
Mahalo, thank you very much for that amazing presentation. Let's go and get questions going from or comments from the board, starting with Mick Ferrara, followed up by Vice Chair Michaela Lindstone.
Hi, I was wondering, I was looking at your grant program overview. One of my secret lives, I'm a butterfly farmer.
Ooh.
And I find that some of the butterfly species here on the island, there isn't a lot of, I guess, things for them to eat, like the white crowned flower. I have a very hard time finding those. And I wanted to, I've got some acreage and I wanted to actually plant out a whole bunch of them because the butterflies lay eggs on them. And then the caterpillars come out and eat a certain amount. And
exactly.
I just haven't been able, I've found a couple places that have white crown flower trees, but by and large, they're really rare. And I'd like to be able to start off some plants and turn them into trees. So I was wondering if that might be something that's covered by your grant program.
We do consider the crown flower a tree. I mean, it can get quite large. So there is potential. We have had folks approach us for asking for support for butterfly gardens. So I would love to talk to you about that. Please email me.
Let's go to Vice Chair Michaela Lindstone.
Mahalo, Heather. The reason we probably don't have any exceptional trees on that map is because they've all died on this side of the island. And you probably know that more than us, especially, I mean, we have some exceptional trees at Ka'ala that just recently died, all of those historic coconut trees because of CRB. And when invasives attack, they attack this side of the island. The greatest because it's so dry, because it's so close to the harbors and to the military ships that come in. In looking at the map, I think more importantly for this community is instead of maybe focusing on exceptional trees, although this is great, I hope we find one, by the way. I hope we find one. But really, perhaps bringing more resources to our community on how to maintain the trees that we have already. I think that would be really valuable. And maybe one day we'll be able to get an exceptional tree on this list. But I hope we do find one. Mahalo, Heather.
Yeah, mahalo nui for all you do. I will say that our program again can be a resource. There could be exceptional trees already in your neighborhoods that just haven't been nominated. But I know it's a struggle with drought and invasive species. I will say there's a bill in the legislature right now that is proposing, to elaborate the exceptional tree program with more support with the from DLNR, and also proposes I can't remember how they define it, but like an exceptional tree up and coming, to get some recognition. It doesn't perhaps meet all the criteria to become exceptionalized, but we want to support and appreciate and encourage folks that have those trees to also care for them so that they can one day become exceptional trees through this program. But yeah, thank you for your question.
Mahalo, let's go online to board member Ka'ala.
Aloha, a comment and a question. First, thank you so much. I love your energy, your expertise, the efficiency. After listening to reports where you just kind of scratch your head and wonder, like, what are we talking about? It's nice to see where we have data merged with common sense, and it's working community. So I appreciate that. The question is your advisory board, does your group advise developers too as they come into our community? So our community is just a hotbed for development. We'd love to see us get more trees in here by having developers put in meaningful trees.
Yeah.
They're useful medicinally, reduce the climate effects here. So I wonder if you guys are if we could get you guys to tell these people what to plant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I appreciate, well, thank you for the comment first. And I really appreciate the question, second of all. The purview of our mayor's arborist advisory committee is kind of narrowly defined to this exceptional tree program. We're trying to do more, but all of us are tree people. You know, in our other lives, we do more. As far as influencing what developers do, I mean, there are requirements for new developments from the counties on the kinds of how many trees need to be planted, you know, in parking lots and along roadways when those are newly developed. What I have heard is that what happens sometimes is that those trees are in the plans and then the utilities go in and developers say, oh, sorry, we have these utilities now, so there's no more room for trees, which is not okay. People find ways of getting around it or perhaps paying a fine and not installing the trees. But what I am really trying to communicate at that policy level, at the department level, at, you know, the commercial interest level, is that trees are also infrastructure. Trees are not just beautification. Trees might be beautiful, but trees are critical infrastructure for our survival, like a stoplight, like a fire hydrant. Yeah. And they shouldn't be optional. So it's a challenge. And I hear your question. I empathize. It's something that we scratch our heads about and are thinking about, but I don't have an easy answer for you, unfortunately. I would say if you have questions for me, you know, about what's going on, people reach out all the time because we are a statewide program that supports trees in the Val Kanaka, trees where we live and work and learn and play. So please feel free to reach out to me if you want to have an offline chat.
I definitely will. I homeschool. My son is a budding conservationist of birds, but obviously,
oh,
so
birds need trees. So,
so yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
Mahalo. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Let's go to Dr. Posler, then to Dr. Dudley afterwards. Let's start with Dr. Dudley. He already had them. Oh, never mind. Let's go to Dr.
Got it.
Hopscotch.
About 2 years ago, well, maybe a little over 2 years ago, we had the Board of Water Supply put on the Day Without Water in Kapolei Regional Park. It was a really great way to get information to our community because many of the workshops were happening in Kalihi and not accessible to us on the Leeward Coast. And I'm wondering, on your website, you had community programming. Is that something you might consider bringing some sort of community event to our side where we could talk about this and maybe get the message out that currently we have 7% tree canopy coverage in Kapolei, and the developers are paying fines in some cases to not plant trees, and you are recommending that we need 30% coverage to have any impact on the heat index. So I think that's really a critical message that our community needs to hear and maybe learn ways that they can help combat this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like a community event would be a great way to jumpstart this.
Thank you so much for your question. And I love that you have your keiki right there. So awesome. One of our community partners is Malama Learning Center, who's quite active in your side of the island. And we have supported them when they do work in schools, when they have done Arbor Day community tree distributions, training for young people. So that's just an example, but yeah, we're definitely working in schools and in community spaces to talk about trees. If you have a request that you would like us to speak at or table, or reach out.
Mahalo, Dr. Dudley.
Okay. Jeffrey, do you have the pictures to show of the trees? Okay. I'd like to show you the pictures of trees here in Makakilo and the problems that we're having with them. Now, this is the way these trees are supposed to look. And the next slide, please. And this is the way they do look. And the next slide, please. And this is the way they do look. Could we go to the next slide? Okay. This is looking down Makakilo Drive, and what we see there is a huge big tree in the middle. Okay, can we go to the next slide? And this is what those trees look like now. So next slide, please. And the next slide. And the next slide. Okay. We've been talking about this for 6 months at this meeting. 6 months. We've been asking people to help us save our trees. As you go around this island, there are millions of dollars of trees that are dying. No one will tell us what's happening. They tell us they need more water. No, they don't need more water. There's something killing our trees all over the place on this side of the island. I'm so disappointed with the city. Last month, we asked the city representative to go to the mayor, get us somebody to come and tell us what's going on with our trees. And you show up, we think you're going to talk about that, but you talk about special trees. So tell us, what do you know, doctor, about what's happening with trees and what can we do? And is anybody doing anything? Thank you.
Wow, thank you for the questions and the concern and the photo documentation. It's hard for me to do a real analysis based on that quick look, but what's coming to mind for me is our mantra is really right tree, right place, right care. And so choosing the species that are suited to the environment can help that tree thrive. So that's the right tree. Right place, if it is something that's planted in the right of way between the road and the sidewalk, that it has enough soil volume that it can actually grow to its full potential and be healthy. Unfortunately, some of the specs that are there don't really reflect what we know now are necessary for promoting tree health, so that we can get that tree can live to its full potential, and that we can get the benefits from those trees, the shade, the habitat, the clean air and water, all the things. Also, we've been experiencing a lot of hot, dry seasons. And so that's a contributing factor as well. Right tree, right place, and right care. So watering is also important, but it's not the only thing, as you have said. The right environment for the right tree is important, but also creating the right space so that the roots have room to grow unobstructed, that it's not being put in a place with compacted soil. Trees actually breathe air, and if everything is packed down, they aren't able to get air. So it's hard for me to, tell you exactly what's going on just from the photos, but if those are street trees, then it is the City and County Division of Urban Forestry that you want to be talking to with your concerns.
And is that you?
No. I'm not liking this, pass the buck thing, but I am with the statewide program under the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and we support. We work with counties, we support nonprofits, schools, places of worship, all these examples. But those street trees are within the Kuleana, the responsibility of city and county, Department of Parks and Recreation, Division of Urban Forestry.
Okay, let me tell you that everything you've said makes absolutely no sense. Okay, there is something going on with the trees. There's something eating the trees. If you go all over this side of the island, you see tree after tree after tree that has not one leaf on it. And nobody will do anything. We're losing millions, possibly billions of dollars worth of trees. Will you, who say you love trees, will you come out here and look around, go up Makakilo Drive? Let me show you the areas where we're losing tree after tree after tree. I look from my house over a whole valley, and every single tree is dead. Every single tree. You just have no idea how bad it is. We need somebody to come out here. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go on a tree tour.
Good, thank you.
Mahalo, appreciate it. Any other comments, questions? Let's go to Board Member Sheila Maderas.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say thank you because I learned a lot just from this presentation. What I do sorry, I do have a question. How do we is there a way to get more trees here by just donations and to be able to put it in areas that need a tree here? Because we don't really have a lot of trees here in the flats of Kapolei, and it's needed, but I'm not sure what the process would be. But I am now smarter because now I can ask the questions to developers that come to our board and ask them about trees. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. The process is a little foggy for me, but I know when there's a new development, at first those roads and then are private roads until they are turned over to the county. So at the point when they're turned over to the county, the trees on those roads become the responsibility of the county. And if you live on a road that is, within county management, then you can actually request the Division of Urban Forestry plant a tree in your right of way in front of your home. Anyone can request it, and it's at no charge. They ask that you then take on the responsibility of watering that tree until it becomes established. So that's one thing I can offer in terms of information. Other things are, pursue our grant program. Unfortunately, it's kind of late timing now. We have a grant offering that closes on March 1st, so there's not a lot of time to prepare. But we offer grants every year, and therefore communities that want to plant trees in their neighborhoods, in their community spaces, in their parks, in their schools. And so that's another option that I would encourage you to pursue.
Okay, we're at 2 hours and we have multiple presentations left. Is there any other burning questions from the board or from the community? Understanding that we have 3 other presentations left. Yep. And you can go, but we might not meet our 3-hour deadline with Olelo.
Just a quick follow-up with the requesting a tree placement or the grant program. If we wanted to get trees in our area. Wondering, would we have to coordinate this with parks? Because I mean, a lot of the places that we have now are public parks or private areas. So how do you go about organizing that, or is that something that we would have to figure out? Thank you.
A little of both. Maybe we could have, if I shared my presentation with the chair via email so it can be sent around to anyone who's interested. And I encourage you to reach out to me. I mean, if you want to get trees planted in a city and county park, of course, you need to work with the Parks and Rec. Yeah. But we could potentially support it with funds. And then otherwise, if it's in community spaces outside of municipal, it could be something that fits with our grant program. So.
Questions from the community? Come on down. Okay. Awesome. So you had a spectacular presentation talking about exceptional trees, but ends up that everybody wants to access you with your other hat from DLNR.
Yeah,
And
right
help us
on. I
plant
mean,
the
I'm
trees.
happy. Anyone can reach out to me. I'll put my email too in the chat so that people can follow up. But thank you again for your time.
No worries. She's coming out for a tree tour and she's making her information available. Please go and contact her so we can plant trees in our community. Okay. Let's bring up the next presentation is from Environmental Services talking to us about the materials processing and solid waste to energy facilities, their campus out in Campbell Industrial. Yeah, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, allowing us to present tonight on this important matter. I guess I'll pull up my own presentation on this. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, in addition to talking about the PIM expansion, I did want to talk about what we plan to use the facility for if we are to acquire the property and well, get the PIM expansion and acquire the property. So our thought is to begin what we're calling the E&V Solid Waste Management Campus. And sorry, my name is Josh Nagashima. I'm not Ahmad Sadri. I'm replacing Ahmad tonight. I am the chief of the Refuse Division for the Department of Environmental Services for the City and County of Honolulu. And I am supported today by the director of E&V, who is also here, Dr. Roger Babcock. So he can support us here today too. Okay, so I'll be going through my presentation, which covers the solid waste campus that I just mentioned, the expansion for the PIM, the consultation and outreach we had previously done regarding this PIM expansion, modification, the solid waste management components in our system and what we think a campus can bring, the current status and future needs for this site, and support for Aloha Carbon, which was requested from us, or what we're doing there. And then I have references for more info so you can find out more about what we're doing here and the goals that we had set forth before. Okay, so just to give a little bit of overview about the PIM. So the PIM, what the PIM does, it's a public infrastructure map that identifies the usage of a property for government purposes. So in this case, we already have a property out here. We have two that are connected. One has our H-Power facility, the waste to energy plant on it. That's marked as 036 on the map. And this modification, we hope, will expand that solid waste tag to the neighboring property which was formerly occupied by the AES coal burning facility. And we plan to use city funds to build our planned campus there. With regards to the PIM, our previous consultation and outreach were to prepare a report regarding the PIM to show the modification that we're requesting. We prepared that in November 2024. I know it's been a little while since we put that out. But we did get a letter of conditional support from this neighborhood board regarding that report. We were asked to collaborate with Aloha Carbon on this facility, which we are planning to do. And we were told to engage with the neighborhood board and also implement a host compensation package. So in our response dated April 8th, 2025, we mentioned that we have already partnered with Aloha Carbon since January 2021. So obviously we would help to provide the feedstock for Aloha Carbon. In case you don't know, Aloha Carbon is using an advanced technology to convert construction and demolition debris to fuel. So we are supporting that. We have heard the community, a lot of community members have said, why haven't we looked at more advanced technologies? This is one of the steps that we're taking to do that. We responded that we would do the neighborhood board presentation, which I am now here to do. Provide outreach and offer. We invite anybody actually to come out and tour our existing facilities, including H Power, the landfill, and our recycling facilities at RRR, which is also in Cambo Industrial, and HER, which is in Wahiawa, that does composting. And then ENV supports the host community benefits for residents impacted by landfills for sure, and we will consider it for this property as well. So in case you're not that familiar with the waste stream and how it works, so we as a department try to make waste, not waste, first of all, try to reduce the amount of waste that's being generated, but then also try to encourage residents to reuse what they're not using anymore, or donate it to try to give it to others to reuse. And then if it enters the waste stream, we try to source separate it as much as we can. So a MRF there is a materials recovery facility, and it's a facility that's designed to separate these items that came into the waste stream. And we try to remove recyclables. We try to get those recycled and try to upcycle those as well. And then we send the non-recyclables, so that would be like pet waste or carpet or old clothes, things that are difficult to recycle. We try to send that to H Power, our waste to energy facility. At least it generates energy, electricity that can be used by the rest of the island. H Power currently generates about 10% of the island's electricity. And then anything inert, something that can't burn, so like your toilets or concrete or soil that's generated, we have to send that to the landfill right now because that's not burnt. It can't be recycled. It can't really be reused. So we're trying to find different ways to try to separate these materials. And so that's what we're trying to do at this facility. So C&D, concrete, and all of that, we're trying to figure out ways to sort that out, recycle that. After waste to energy, of course, are all those newer technologies that we're going to try to research, including pyrolysis, gasification, and the other incineration methods, which we also have in place. We're trying to improve those on a day-to-day basis. Again, in case you, kind of a breakdown of the waste stream, in case you don't understand. So H Power, when we're running optimally, receives about 2,000 tons of waste per day. Imagine that now, 2,000 tons, 2,000 pounds in a ton. That's 4 million pounds of waste that we're receiving a day at that facility, generated by households, restaurants, other businesses that are sending the waste to us. So that's what H-Power takes. PVT landfill is the landfill that takes C&D currently, construction demolition debris. They process, they try to recycle metals and other easy to recycle materials. So they process 563 tons per day. What's sent to H-Power, it gets burned, but there is an ash that's generated. About 400 tons per day of ash is generated. That has to go to landfill currently. We're looking at ways to recycle that and recover materials from that as well. General recycling, including what's collected in the blue cart. We collect about 250 tons per day, and that gets sorted into the various commodities, cardboard, plastics, and then it's shipped off island in general to be recycled. Green waste, we take about 250 tons per day too. Again, that goes to HER for composting. And there's also special waste that we take at the landfill. The biggest component of that is ASR or auto shredder residue. So when you junk a car, it gets shredded up, the metals get recycled. But there's foams and other things that come out of your seats, wiring, that cannot be recycled currently. And so that has to go to the landfill. We're looking at ways to use that as well. And then I mentioned C&D, mixed recyclables, and then a low carbon, we're hoping, or another advanced technology can be used in the future, at least on a testing level, so that we can try to get that going on a bigger scale. So just to introduce you to some of our facilities if you haven't seen them. So this is a picture of Waimanalo Gulch Sanitary Landfill near Honokai Hale. It's our only municipal landfill, and it's currently filling up. You may have heard we're looking for a new site, but I mentioned the waste that needs to go there currently, that we're currently looking for better ways to handle. This is our H-Power facility in Campbell, and this is the next to the property that we want to expand to. This is kind of an older picture. You can see the old AES facility next door. That is no longer the case. I have a picture later on that I'll show you the current state. We recently built on the property behind H-Power a new refuse convenience center. The West Side convenience centers tend to be the busier centers. So we wanted to build a center that could take some of that waste, and we built it in a better design, good traffic flow, less lines there. So go there if you got to go somewhere. It's going to be emptier. And then we have a new refuse base yard that's coming up soon over there. So we already built it. We should be occupying it in a little bit. But it's good to have all these things co-located because it makes it easier for us to transfer waste between facilities. It makes it efficient for us to drop things off. So as far as the status of a lot of these facilities, so we have an operator, Reworld, at H-Power right now. Their contract currently expires in August 2032. Again, we're looking to see if we can get a better technology, or when we upgrade, we have to upgrade at some point. We have to get a new operator. We'll try to do that. The old facility, the old half of H-Power is 37 years old now, so it's having a little bit more issues. So we've been doing that for a while. When we built the new facility, the mass burn facility, that's now 14 years old, sorry. We did look at advanced technologies, so like pyrolysis and plasma arc, but at that time it wasn't advanced enough for us to implement. So it's about time we look at it again. Currently the landfill, like I said, is running out of space, so we have limited space. We're trying to prevent things from going there as much as possible. So, but we're in the process of siting a new landfill because we have to keep that continuity currently. Access constraints. So the site, H-Power site, is very constrained. The roads are small, so we need another site to kind of get that traffic flow going. And again, it helps us with moving materials between sites. I mentioned the landfill constraints a little bit. PVT landfill is going to close at some point, and so the city is, yeah, and it's probably less than 5 years at this point. So the city has to take on that construction and demolition debris, and so this property will provide the ability for us to sort that material out. So yeah, some of the things I mentioned. So we want to reduce the land tonnage going to landfill. We want to improve traffic flow. We want to look at new technology. We want to do an advanced MRF. So not only are we doing recyclables in the blue cart, we're going to take C&D material, we're going to sort what can burn, send that to H-Power. We're going to try to look at recycling some of the things that cannot burn. And we want to do recovery from the ash that comes out of H-Power. So we want to do at least metals recovery. Ideally, we would also like to use some of that as aggregate, and we don't have to send it to the landfill. And another ideal thing is to put an education center here so we can bring more people out, teach them more about our system. So this is the picture I was mentioning. This is what the property looks like now. They must be raising grass there, but basically this is the property we wanna modify the PIM on so that we can extend on. So it's right next to H-Power. And we want to shrink the footprint of reduce waste of whatever is going to the landfill. That's very important for us. We want to close the loop. We want to reclaim materials and create a circular economy so that we not send things to landfill. We want to power the grid. We want to contribute to whatever we can, renewable energy sources. Currently, H-Power is considered a renewable energy source, and we think we can keep running that way. Forward thinking. So we want to integrate new technology. We want to test and integrate new technology into our future exploits. So a materials recovery facility. So this is similar to the one that we send our blue cart material to. They sort the recyclables there. We could put something like this on the property. Or at PVT landfill, they used to sort their materials before they knew they had to close in a little bit. They used to sort the materials, recycle more, separate ferrous and non-ferrous metals, wood, and other materials. And we want to do something similar on this property. I mentioned Aloha Carbon. So yeah, we meet with Aloha Carbon on a regular basis to try to determine how they're working out, what the feedstock's going to be. We want to work with them and other companies that might have an advanced technology that we can employ. We also, like I mentioned, want to put an education center. I don't know if it's going to look this nice. This one's really nice, but we're going to try. We're going to try to get people out there to understand the waste stream a little bit more. And then as far as resources go, if you want to learn more about waste to energy, scan the QR code. We also put out an integrated solid waste management plan every 5 years. So we did a 5-year update in 2024. We're gearing up to do another 10-year update, which is the bigger update soon. So we're going to be doing a waste composition study of the waste that's coming into H-Power. We want to adjust to what's coming in from the waste stream and try to adjust through that. So one of the things that we found out last time we did a waste count was that food waste was a big contributor. And so now we're going to start taking food waste in the green cart coming up soon. We're doing a pilot test in April, probably be taking it island-wide in October. So in conclusion, we would like to build this solid waste campus, continue to keep that growing, educate the public, look at advanced technologies. This 28-acre parcel is going to be very helpful for that. We're always open for tours. And the integrated facilities help with our efficiency, our flow, and support for advanced technology. Check out the references. If you have any questions, you can email Ahmad. I'll also leave my cards here, and I'll stick around after the presentation for any questions, discussion.
Mahalo nui loa. Thank you, and Dr. Babcock, and to Ahmad for actually creating the presentation and coming back to talk story with us. It's super awesome to see what you guys are doing and the direction that you're taking. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the neighborhood board? Going to board member Hale Ta'ala online.
Aloha, thank you so much for the presentation. This is long overdue, so it's great to see that there's some progress being made. Mick mentioned that he had a secret life as a butterfly farmer. I have a secret life as a waste management nerd. I'm really interested in circular economies, and you can't have that. You can't have that without addressing the waste. And in my view, it's all about bringing the process together with the people, together with the policies. If you're providing a process, right, you've got your facility, excuse me, your tech, and you've got your, I think enough groundswell support. People know that we have a waste issue. And if anyone is truly invested in Hawaii, then you'll be a Hawaiian and you'll care about where all that goes. But I wonder if what is being done in the policy level. When I look at places that are really, models for nearly zero waste places, we're looking at places like Germany, Sweden, Japan, South Korea. They succeed by combining, strict sorting rules, pay-as-you-go fees. They produce responsibility laws, bottle deposit systems, and in some cases, high efficiency waste energy plants, like how you're trying to do with tight air pollution standards. And for Hawaii, it seems that the best technologies are those that cut hauling and improve sorting, like you're trying to do, while fitting our constraints as an island. Route optimization, fill level sensors for collection. There's AI tools out for that now. Smarter sorting at the transfer facilities, distributed composting, anaerobic digesters, the whole thing. So I'm wondering, how can policy support the process? Like, what do you think is missing that would help to improve by decreasing the waste that flows into the facility, first of all? Like, do you guys think through it with a policy lens, or you're mostly focused on the more scientific, technical aspects?
I would say we handle it more on the backside, but we're definitely trying to be in tune with policies that can help. So extended producer responsibility is one of those, right? If they're bringing things into the island, if producers are bringing things to the island, we want them to pay a fee or have take back programs or something to help take the waste back. We also are looking at packaging, of course, too. Packaging is too large. We want to reduce that. And then, we try to implement a combination of policy and function, similar things to the food waste program, right? Where we have the laws to support it. We need to take compostables, food waste. So we're going to do that. We're going to try to educate the public on that.
Okay. You guys have a liaison set up to work with the policy side and work with the public to, get this support going, so everyone does their part. Everyone has kuleana, right? So
Yes, we try to do that. Yeah.
okay, let us know how we can support.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns from the community or board members? Okay, come on down.
My name is Leslie Keating, neighborhood resident. So my question is, I live in an HOA. I live in townhomes very close by. And I see most of the communities coming up all over this part of the island, and all the new communities being HOAs. So we probably all have some of the same problems. We deal with, well, at least the ones with townhomes and apartments and everything. We deal with private garbage collectors who don't have recycling, basically. I mean, they bring 2 cans, but they throw it all in the same thing. And so you have everybody in my neighborhood who would be happy to, do cardboard and this, that, and the other, but it seems like it's all just going in one giant dumpster. And so why am I sorting this again? Because if you're just going to dump it into one dumpster, there's no sense in it. And so I'm wondering, I know I have to pay for my own garbage because I live in a townhome, and I know that the residents who live in houses, lucky you guys, get your garbage paid for by the city. And I'm glad our taxes go to stuff, but I would love to have my garbage paid for. That's actually my first thing, is I would rather just the city collect everybody's garbage, especially since the cost for collecting my neighborhood's garbage per person is far cheaper because there are large things anyways, and you're not going door to door. But that's just a big pet peeve of mine. Anyways, but how do we get these private companies to actually do what they need to do to make sure that communities can can recycle, can have a food waste bin and, an actual, like mine, I literally have 2 trash cans and they don't have anything. So that's it, Dr. Dudley. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think it's interesting because we were just talking about that. So, even at townhomes, sometimes when they have the separated dumpsters, they collect it both in the same truck. And that kind of goes back to the policy question. We got to create policy to help support this too, that if they're going to offer that service, and they probably charge you more for the recycling too, they better recycle it, right? And so that's going back to that. As far as the city providing more services, we did open back our front loader service. So if you are in a multifamily, you can get on the wait list and we can analyze to see if we can collect in your area. So that's something you might want to look into. And then with the bulky program too, we can throw you on if potentially, if you have a pen, we got to look at it too. But yeah, contact us and we can add you on the list.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the direction. Yeah. Come on down, community member.
My question is, would they ever, like you said, H Power is like 37 years old. No, honestly, the city and county, they struggle grabbing the containers from the convenience centers, transfers. And there's times they cannot go to H Power, they have to go straight to the landfill. And that's a major problem. I work as a security guard at the convenience center. So I'm not going to mention names of my managers, but honestly, I just feel sorry for them because you say, man, you other companies doing to H Power, but they rejecting the city and county. Us taxpayers, we paying them to do the job. And I'm like, where the money going? Or why these companies that first access and besides the city and county? And it really upsets me, honestly, because I feel sorry for them. And, I tell people, say, in my opinion, I think we need another H Power plant somewhere like maybe central or east. So in case anything happen, like say this one's completely shut down, we get one back up and you come in with PVT shutting down too. And they're like, what? My God, I'm like,
Wrap it up, Mike.
it's stress. Especially, I'm not part of the city and county, but I'm a security guard for a company. But the public really can be so rude to us. And we only being professional, like, hey, sorry, we can't take this. That's the rules. And people out there can be cussing at us. And thankfully, it's like only a couple times I had to call HPD, but nothing major. But that's my question is like, why H Power is rejecting the city and county, then you get other companies first? Because to me, in my opinion, that's not fair to them. Thank you.
Thanks. First of all, thanks for doing your part for having people sort the right way and taking the right materials in the right place. But yeah, I know that can be really tough. As far as H Power taking other companies first, we try our best. In our main focus, right, is to take the trash first, right? We want to get that off the street. We want to take it from residents, get it out of the way. So that's our first and primary job. So we have to kind of manage what goes to H Power in the landfill based on what H Power can take. So we try to determine we try to send as much as we can to H Power because that's the more beneficial use. But we determine if private companies go there or they go to the landfill. So either way, when a private company goes to H Power, we make money off the tip fee, right, to run H Power, and we also get the fuel to burn to generate electricity. Either way, so the city actually pays less in a sense than those private companies. So it's okay if they go to H Power, but we will divert we'll try to split it off so that we can handle all the waste and bring it all in. That's the main.
Mr. Chair, we really need to move on.
Dr. Dudley, thank you. Mahalo for the questions and mahalo to the community members for raising these concerns. At this time, the chair is putting forth, considering that we have given this project conditional support, and from my analysis, the ENV has fulfilled every single portion that we asked for. Is there any objection that we lend our full support at this time? Okay. Hearing no objection, okay, then you have our full support, but to be technically correct, anyone from the public would like to publicly testimony before we vote? Going once, going twice, going three times. Thank you for not coming up. We have talked about this. You have done what we've asked. So I hear all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any kanulua? Okay, chair calls it unanimous. So it's no longer conditional. Keep on keeping on. We appreciate the good work you're doing.
Thank you for the support.
Okay, now let's go to Touch a Truck, Katie Kanapu, giving us an online presentation.
Good evening.
Okay, calling for Katie again. Kanapu. Okay. We'll give her 10 more seconds. Okay, so we having technical difficulties. Is Mike Lauman ready to share us and dazzle us with the Hawaii Airspace Modernization Project?
I don't know if I can dazzle you. I'm ready to go.
Okay, we'll come back to Katie afterwards, but let's go, Mike.
May I try to share my screen? What do you see?
Yep, we see it great.
Hey, fantastic. Okay. My name is Mike Platt. I'm with the Eva Neighborhood Board. I'm the Military Affairs Chair, and I gave a similar presentation earlier this month to the Eva Neighborhood Board, and it was recommended to bring this to Makakilo, and I believe Pearl City has already passed a version of a resolution to address the Hawaii Airspace Modernization Project. Why is this interesting to me? Well, I'm a pilot. I was a Navy pilot for 20 years, 15 of which at Barbers Point, a little bit of time at Kaneohe, flew for a couple of inter-island airlines that are no longer with us, and more recently, International Logistics. So I'm pretty familiar with the Hawaii airspace. But this Hawaii Airspace Modernization Project is part of a larger, finally long overdue financial commitment to modernize the national airspace system. And this year, Congress appropriated $13.5 billion. And to put that into perspective, their usual annual budget is about $1 billion. So this is about 13 times what they normally spend. We are hiring air traffic controllers as fast as the FAA can. In Hawaii, they're going to be modernizing the radios, which has been a big problem in Hawaiian airspace, with poor radios, new radars, new computers. Most importantly, though, airspace routes and procedures, and everything's on the table. And but what about noise, and what about us and the public? And if you had joined the public scoping meeting that they had in November that the public didn't know anything about, you can actually watch that. If you look at the link that this presentation has connected to it on the agenda, you can actually go to that meeting and watch it if you like aviation stuff. But there's a lot of competing interests out there between the DOD, DOW, and industry, and that being the lobbyists for American, Delta, United, Hawaiian, Alaska. And so where does noise and the public's well-being fit in that? Well, we're down at the bottom. And so why am I here? To encourage the public to click on that link and leave a public comment. Public comment window has been extended till March 15th. If you have a concern about noise over the Eva plane, that's the link to go to say something about it. And just a quick history. If you look at these two red lines that are parallel, the top one is runway 8 left, and the bottom one is runway 8 right, also known as the reef runway. And that yellow line is an approach up into runways 4 left and right. So we got 4 runways in either direction. When long jet instrument approach procedures to Honolulu, runway 8 left and right were first created, the epiplane was sparsely populated sugarcane plantation, and the scale of today's residential development population could not have been fully anticipated. And in roughly the last 3 to 4 decades, the epiplane has become the fastest growing region in Hawaii, as we all know, and it's now home to approximately 120,000 residents whose daily lives are directly impacted by aircraft noise. And it's not merely an inconvenience, but a health and quality of life issue, contributing to stress, sleep disruption, difficulty learning for children, and reduced enjoyment of the homes, parks, and community spaces that we live at. And the thing is as we see the FAA exploring ways to improve the airspace, there are things that can be done to redirect traffic so that it is less of an impact on the community. And you know, they can change runway use priorities. You could swap runway 8 left and 8 right, make 8 right more of an arrival runway, 8 left more of a departure runway. You could bring more traffic into runway 4. There's many things you could do. And what I'm encouraging is that we all take the time to make a public comment and ask them to adjust the current traffic flows so that noise abatement is a priority. And I'm going to shift gears here a little bit and talk about something in Eva Beach, but it also impacts your neighborhood board, just because anybody who flies is exposed to this risk that we have based on the military shooting range that is on short final to the airport. Play about a 1.5-minute video, but please have a look.
Compatible military training.
Okay, Mike, we're not seeing you. Might have some technical issues as well. But
okay, well, I'll just continue then.
Yeah,
in
no
the interest
worries.
of time, if that's not going to work. So what you've got is a couple of masses or volumes of airspace that are supposed to be protected. One of them is the protective airspace that is around the firing range right there on short final to the airport. And the other is the protective airspace that protects the airplanes. And neither of the two should touch. Well, as it turns out, they overlap considerably. And we're also asking the FAA to take a closer look at that, reevaluate the spatial relationship between that shooting range and the air traffic so that we can be assured that the public is not flying through that danger zone while the range is active. And I can assure you it is happening now. We've got plenty of recordings of it, but I just introduced that because paragraph in the solution that I see your board is going to be considering. And in my professional opinion, it's an unsafe situation. But if we have it as part of the scoping public comments, it's something that has to be addressed by the project. So because we're short on time, if there's any questions, I can ask them or I can answer them now. But I'd like to just give you guys the opportunity to move on. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Right on. Thank you so much, Mike. Basically, he's for the presentation that happened at the Eva Neighborhood Board. This conversation, the resolution before us, is already been considered by Eva Neighborhood Board in part and Diamond Head and Pro City. So we're trying to coordinate their comments and the concerns. And our resolution speaks to 3 issues on that are the same that he just spoke about maximizing usage of the runways for arrivals, limiting military fighter jets on certain runways, and then reassigning runways for departures and for landings. And then 2 that is specifically for us in our resolution is that our conversations that we've had for years about the helicopters, and then they try to come down lower. So we wanted to make sure in the scoping, when they go and redo the protocols, the procedures, that they're not lowering the 1,500 mandatory level that Blue Helicopters has been trying for like the last 20 years to sneak in, right, through this process. So we put that in specifically for us because that has been a major concern for our community. But otherwise, it's very similar to what Pearl City, Eva, and Diamond Head are talking about for commenting. Okay, having said that on the resolution, any questions for the presenter? Yeah, Uncle Frank Ganadio, go right ahead.
Yes, I thought Mr. Plowman mentioned 4 runways. I saw 8 left and right in runway 4. Could you explain?
Oh, sure. There's actually 2 runway 4s. They're a lot closer together than the 8s. So there is a 4 left and a 4 right. The 4 right is the longer one. But yeah, they're right next to each other. So it might have been hard to discern in that photograph, but there are 4 runways in each direction.
Mahalo.
Now I was considering, go right ahead, Nick Ferrara.
Could I ask a question after we pass the resolution?
Oh yeah, no problem. So given that the resolution is based on this presentation, I'll take, if there's no objection, we'll do the resolution now out of order. Hearing no objection, let's do it public. Okay, the chair's recommendation is that we adopt this to put in the comments, basically mirroring what Eva is already doing, and then elevating our concerns about the limits for helicopters. Like, is there anyone wishing to, oh, sorry, let's do the motion first to adopt the resolution. It's been moved by Vice Chair. Is there a second? A second by Board Member Hale. Now let's open for public discussion. Again, we've talked about the helicopter issue before. Now it's just like placement for the planes because there's homes here now. Like it's not sugarcane. That's what we're telling them. It's not the same. Okay. Seeing no one coming up. Any discussion from the board? There is no further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say ole. Any abstentions say kanalua. Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous. Okay, great. Now for a follow-up question going to Mick Ferrara.
Yeah, hi. I'm also a pilot, and I work for the Air National Guard. And according to Mazie Hirano, back in 2008, we had funding available for a new tower out at Kalealoa. Kalealoa is the backup for H&L in case of a disaster. The current tower is a World War II model and has no instrument capability. The Air National Guard is actually the air traffic controllers who run it from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. The Coast Guard kind of comes and goes on their own. A number of Air Force and other military planes utilize Kalealoa. With the administration funding new technology for existing airfields, is there any way that we can also get the tower?
That's a good question. I would say that's something that should also be addressed in public comments. And I don't know the answer to that, but having seen the scoping meeting, it sounds to me like everything's on the table. If it gets brought up in the public scoping, public comments, they've got to address it. Now, what are the odds of funding coming through for that? I'd hate to speculate, but that's something I would recommend adding to the public comments.
Yeah, I had filled out the questionnaire that the FAA had online.
Oh, good.
And a couple of years ago, I'd actually had a bill introduced to get a study for the particular tower. and it didn't quite go anywhere. But now more than ever, I think it's time, because they're operating on waivers right now. And eventually we won't be able to even have the National Guard work out of there because it's in such disrepair. Thank you.
Okay, given
I'd recommend that you have the National Guard also make input on that.
I really wish this question was asked before, because now I'm going to do something. Can we amend the resolution by adding in a request to update the Kalailoa Tower, because it makes sense. It's been moved by Dr. Dudley, second by Hale. And any public discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of adding a clause to ask them to also consider updating the Kalailoa Tower because it's outdated. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say ole. Any kanalua abstentions? Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous, so the resolution has been amended. Now, let's see if we got the Touch-a-Truck people back online.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm back online. So my technical difficulty. I'll keep this short. We have 15 minutes. So good evening, Chair, members of the Neighborhood Board. Thank you for having me. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Katie Ka'anapu. I oversee the marketing and events at Kapolei Commons. I'm here tonight to share an update on our upcoming Touch-a-Truck event, and more specifically to talk about what we've learned from the past years and the improvements we've made to ensure that we continue to be a good neighbor while still offering free, family-friendly events for West Oahu. So let me share with you just a little bit of information about this event. Our event's coming up on next Saturday, March 7th. It will be from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to noon. And excuse me, my computer is slowly trying to connect so I can share my window with you. The event consists of over 40 large trucks that we host on property at Kapolei Commons. So we have everything from fire trucks, HPD command vehicles, cement mixers, things of that nature. Families, kids are able to explore the trucks and meet the drivers. So it's a really fun event.
We got your slides for you, so just let us know if you want us to go next.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Well, now we're having technical difficulties. There we go. Back to Touch-a-Truck.
Excellent. Thank you. So yes, like I said, it's coming up March 7th, 9 a.m. to noon. You can skip through to the next slide. Our event this year is sponsored by Kaiser Permanente. Here's just an overall view of our event space. We hold the event in front of our Regal Kapolei Theater in the open lawn area. We usually have, I would say, anywhere between 5,000 and 8,000 people attend this event in a very short window. So that's kind of spurring our need to make improvements year over year, because we just want to be good stewards, good neighbors, offer a great experience for everybody. If you could advance the slides, please. So this is our 11th year. We're very excited about that. Again, presented by Kaiser Permanente. We have just over 8,000 people that attended last year in a very short period. Next slide, please. So over 40 big trucks. We do offer a quiet hour from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where there are no horns or sirens used. So if you've ever experienced this event in the past, Kids love, and probably adults love, to get in the beds of the trucks and honk the horns, and it can get quite loud. So we have introduced a quiet hour for kids that have sensory needs. Kaiser Permanente will be bringing their mobile health vehicle, which is essentially a clinic on wheels that provides exam rooms and medical equipment. So kids will be able to get in there and explore, and also dress up, as medical professionals, doctors, nurses. We offer food trucks, food tents, and then we have a deluxe restroom trailer that's part of the event. That's just one of the sponsors. Next slide, please. So because I mentioned such an influx of people in a short amount of time, we've really focused on improving the traffic in the area during the event. So we are aware that obviously it's not just getting to the event on our property or exiting our property. We want to be good neighbors as well. Any Saturday at Kalailoa or Kapolei Parkway is busy. Whether people be going to Costco, Home Depot, or our shopping center. So we've really focused on messaging to the community alternate ways of getting to the property. So this is the first year that we are really focusing on having people ride the Skyline. And we're also providing a school bus shuttle from the UH West Oahu stop. So we have been telling people who live outside of Kapolei, ride the Skyline, take the shuttle from UH West Oahu stop to our property. And then if you live in the Kapolei area, you can park at UH West Oahu and take the shuttle into the property. This is just a way to really try to mitigate traffic and parking concerns, on our property. So that's going to be a big part of our messaging this year. Next slide, please. In addition to that kind of like alternative way to enter the property, we have also partnered with the Honolulu Star Advertiser. So their parking lot directly across from the shopping center, directly across from Denny's, they have allowed us to use that overflow parking for event goers. So we have been messaging through our own, email, social media, and website to have people use that overflow parking. It's an easier way to get in and out of the event, and hopefully it'll alleviate some of the traffic concerns that people experienced last year. Next slide, please. We have also been working very diligently with the Department of Transportation Services, as well as the Honolulu Police Department. So we've been working with DTS on adjusting the timing of the lights at Kalailoa and Kapolei Parkway, as well as the subsequent lights that are farther down toward Costco, down Kapolei Parkway. HPD will have we've hired 13 special duty HPD, as well as they will be providing on duty police officers for this event, because it's just such a large community event. They will be bringing 2 drones out to the event to just monitor the traffic live, and give updates to DTS on how things are going while the event is happening, so that we can make adjustments on the fly. Next slide, please. If you are looking for more information, or if you have any questions, we have all the information up on our website. We also share all of the information on our social media, which is Kapolei Commons on Facebook or Instagram. My email is located here. I'm happy to answer any questions. And then our property manager, Cheryl Stew, her email is here as well. So if you have any additional questions or comments, concerns, I'm happy to address them now, or whenever they may come up.
Any questions, comments, or concerns for Touch a Truck? The largest concern that I had, you're addressing already, making sure that you can coordinate from West Oahu campus and send people from the skyline over on school buses. So that's awesome. Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community? Hearing none, thank you so much for your presentation. And now we're for public input. Yay, we have 6 minutes left, so please come on down. Now, having said that, there's like, I know people came out here and they need to speak to the board. So if public input goes longer, we'll defer all other rest of the business and we'll let people speak as long as they need to. So come on down if you wish to speak publicly. Nobody? Nobody? Okay, let me check now for Senator Gabbard's office and Melanie June. Wait. She raised her hand. Go right ahead. Melanie.
Yes. Yes, I
Yay.
remembered to raise my hand. Thank you, guys. All right. So, aloha board and community members. I'll make this very quick because for time's sake. I'm Melanie. I'm Senator Gabbard's community liaison, and I just have a few updates tonight. So, Senator Gabbard's February newsletter is now available with updates on what he's been working on both in the community and at the Capitol. And I'll be sure to drop that link into the chat. But most importantly, I'd like to invite everyone to Senator Gabbard's next Listen Story meeting on Saturday, March 21st from 9 to 10 a.m. And that'll be at the Kapolei High School Teachers Lounge. Zoom option is also available. Just please email us to RSVP. And as always, please feel free to contact our office. We can help with anything at all. And thank you guys so much for your time tonight.
Awesome. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling. We still on time. Go ahead.
Yes, we are. Aloha board, Chair Paris, Vice Chair Lidstone, members of the board, thank you for having me. Hunter Harris here on behalf of Representative Garcia. Really quick, just some highlights from our newsletter that I passed out. Main thing, mahalo for your support for HB 2201, Enterprise Zones. Been doing a lot of research on that. So I believe 2024, 271 million came in for total revenue for businesses that participate in the program. So we're trying to expand that, create more revenue for the state, and create stronger local jobs for our community. Also, big mahalo to everyone who attended our town hall fentanyl awareness. We just had that last night. HPD came down along with Department of Law Enforcement and Mayor Kimo Alameda from the Hawaii County. So that was amazing. Craziest stat from that one was 26 deaths in 2020 rose to about 107 in 2023. And then Department of Law Enforcement said, well, it went down in 2024, but only to 103 deaths. So it's still staggering how much fentanyl affects our community. Pretty much it. And then one more thing for the community, please join our e-blast newsletter so that you stay up to date with all of our office activities. So mahalo, and I'll be around for questions. Thank you.
Let's keep it rolling.
Good evening, Chair and board members. I just wanted to introduce myself. I know we had Jeannie Timotel always here, but I'm Kika Tepeni. I'm here for Councilmember Tupola. Just real quick, I just wanted to let you guys know we started our cohort 8 on our R3. It's in the Kapolei area from February 9th to May 27th. And we do it at the Kapolei State Library. It's from 5 to 6 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 5 to 6. And then we just wanted to bring up the ending landfill resolution 26-7. This is just establishing a task force. We did send an email out for support of all neighborhood boards, and we can talk more and have an open discussion later. But I just wanted to update you guys on that.
Mahalo. No need. At our special meeting, we already approved that we'll support it. Yep.
Thank you.
Come on down, Rep. Elkos. Welcome.
Aloha board, Representative David Elkos, and I don't have much to share with you guys. I know based on time, but I know all the development that is coming out in Kailailoa. If you guys want to do any field trip, you guys want to check out the facilities, go to the dump, Coca-Cola came to my office. They have another brewery coming up. Love to know if you guys want to come. I'll set up a field trip and we can go check it out. Even if you want to check out the landfill, I talked to the chief and he said, you don't mind. So thank you guys. And if you guys have any questions or anything important, you can check me out.
Mahalo. We'll reach out to your office for a list of those upcoming projects. I think field trips will be super awesome. Anything else from the community? Yeah, hearing nothing, going once, going twice, going 3 times. We might be on time. Board business is all postponed to next time. And the last announcement for the evening is our next board meeting is on March 25th, 2026. And 3 days after that is the Prince Kuhio Parade here in Kapolei. So, yeah, and we are participating. So we want to let you know, anybody that's interested in participating, please reach out via to myself or to our community liaison for the board, Sheila Maderas, and then we can get you in the parade. And with that, mahalo
Mr.
nui
Chair.
loa, we are adjourned.
I'm going to